We are not doctors. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Consult your physician before starting any workout routine. This is the Martial Heart Podcast.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Martial Heart Podcast. Checking back, recording. Okay, we're good. Redundancy is a good thing. Anyhow, so still feeling kind of sick, a little congested and all that stuff. Taking some cold medicines and things, so I haven't done much this week. I didn't go to rehab. I didn't want to spread my, disease, whatever it is. So, just kind of been taking it easy and trying to recover and get all this crap out of my head. But I do feel better than I did like Monday, for instance. So, not too bad. I'll be fine. Next week is probably going to hurt when I get back into cardiac rehab because haven't taken this week off, so I'm going to be well rested. So I'm sure it's going to be a little painful for the first couple of days, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I really am. I like going. I like the exercise. I like interacting with other people. I don't know. Cardiac rehab's a cool thing. So if you ever do have a heart attack or, you discover that you have heart disease or coronary artery disease, whatever it is that, happens, if it does, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, and they offer you the opportunity to go to cardiac rehab, go ahead and go. Even if you think you don't need it, go ahead and go, because you're going to be around other people who've been through the same or similar thing as you. Some of them worse, some of them not as bad, but you're going to interact with specialists who, this is what they do for a living, rehab people who have cardiac issues. And, you'll get a routine built of cardio exercise that will benefit you for the rest of your life. So if you can do it and you have the opportunity, just do it. And, you might make some friends or something because you're going to be in there with other people, because believe me, you won't be alone when it comes to heart disease. There's always going to be somebody out there who's going to be in that class. You will never be alone, except I was alone last week because one of the attendees was on vacation, the other one graduated, and the other person was starting, but hadn't started yet. But there was like 4 or 5 of us when I started, so they slowly graduated out, which is good. It's a good thing. And they all seemed to enjoy it. I thought, it was cool. They really embraced it, which was good. And I'm trying to do the same thing. It's a little different for me because I'm used to working out, so it's not like I needed to embrace a lifestyle of exercise. It's that I need to embrace a lifestyle of a different kind of exercise, which is probably going to be the hardest part for me, because I would rather just give me some heavy things to pick up and put down and I'll be fine. So, I don't need to go on that 5K run, which I don't know. I'm still contemplating that. I'm still wondering if I'm ever going to be that guy who can go out and do a 5K jog. Like I said, I haven't jogged or ran probably, other than just goofing off. I haven't done it since I left the military. I've always just kind of stuck to walking on the treadmill or doing a bicycle or a rowing machine or something like that to get my cardio. And I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know. Just today coming home, Allison, my wife, was like, you seem to be limping a little more than usual, because I normally do limp. And it kind of became a joke on the treadmill, both at cardiac rehab and here at home, that I have to have at least one hand touching one of the rails, one of the handrail things. Because if I don't, I walk on the treadmill like I'm drunk. I will weave back and forth from side to side. When you have bad knees and a bad hip and, your lower back is starting to get bad too, apparently it makes you walk like you're drunk. And I will veer off to one side and then go back to the other and then bounce along the thing. But as long as I touch something on the side, I'll stay in the middle, so it's weird, but I'm sure I'd be one of those guys out in the desert, where they always said if you walked, you would walk in one gigantic circle because one leg was, more dominant than the other. I would probably, it would look like an old country road instead of a circle because I would go back and forth and back and forth. But she noticed. She was like, "You seem to be limping more than usual," because I normally do have a slight limp that I can hide. I can walk without one. I can make sure that I'm upright, and I can hide it. So, so you don't want to appear weak. But yeah, I don't even know why. It started raining. The weather's getting colder, and it's raining the last couple of days. Maybe that's it. You know what they always say, you can always feel when it's going to rain, the moisture in the air, your arthritis and all that stuff. I always kind of wrote that stuff off to being old wives' tales when I was younger, but it's probably not an old wives' tale because when it's going to rain or when it is raining and cold, my joints do hurt more. I don't know what it is. Even if it's just psychosomatic, it doesn't matter. It still hurts. But yeah, I hadn't been doing any cardio or anything this week because of the feeling sick. So why I'm limping extra and why my knees are killing me and my hip and it's making me walk funny, I don't know. But, it's probably not one of those old wives' tales. So, going to go into the weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. I have another busy weekend of getting business things and legal things taken care of over the weekend. So that'll take up an entire day or, well, probably not an entire day, some of a day. And then I still have to keep working on this, on this room and doing other things. And I have vet visits with the dog and craziness. And there's never enough time anymore. It's one thing, as you get older, everything goes by faster because it takes up a smaller percentage of your life. So it's a perception thing. You have the perception that everything just goes faster. When you were 10 years old, a year was a long time, but now a year it's gone because it's only 1/57th of my life. So it goes by pretty quick. And before you know it, you're behind on everything. There's not enough time in the world to do everything that you need to do or that you want to do. So it's going to be another busy weekend, but going to keep working on this, going to keep doing it. And I don't know if I told everybody on this channel or not, but I did start another podcast that I'm going to try to do about once a week about conspiracy theories and things. So yesterday I went into a rant about the UAP hearings that they were having in Washington yesterday. So it was kind of an appropriate day for me to launch the inaugural episode of that podcast because I wanted to talk about that. And so if you're into that sort of thing and you want to go listen to me rant about conspiracy theories, just go find it. You can find it. So today I also discovered that I can get angry again and not feel like I'm putting myself at risk. So that's a good thing. I don't know if it's a good thing. But, I've had these fears since having the heart attack that when I would get myself worked up, I would feel like pressure in my chest or I would feel uneasy about things like, oh, is this going to kick off another heart attack if I get my blood pressure up too much, And even though I'm on medication to regulate the blood pressure and everything, I'm sure I can still get it kicked up if I get really upset about something. So I've been very cautious and I've been very Zen-like. I haven't been really getting worked up about things too much. I've been trying to make a conscious effort to not do that, to just, stay calm. It's going to be okay. There's no reason for me to get worked up about it. But today, no. I guess there's certain things that people can do that will literally just flip a switch inside of me and then I don't care anymore. And anyway, there's no need to explain, but somebody got a piece of my mind today. That's all we have to say. But I was kind of happy at the end. When it was over, I was like, hey, you know what? it didn't give me a heart attack. I didn't get worked up and, suddenly feel like I was having angina or something and, need a pill or need to sit down and take a rest because I've got the vapors or whatever, So, it felt kind of good to know that I can actually get angry and it doesn't jeopardize anything for me because, people have said that I'm not a robot. I do have emotions. They're just all varying degrees of anger, and which was true for a long, long part of my life. Really, it was. I was angry all the time, and only you can fix that. By the way, nobody can fix that for you. It's something you have to do yourself. And I was a angry young man. I was an angry young man and an angry older man too. It just went on until a certain point in my life when I decided that what am I doing? Because I was mad all the time. So anyway, that's a totally different discussion. That's a mental health discussion that we're just not going to have because I'm not an expert in those areas either. Currently, the only thing I'm an expert at is having heart attacks. So I have a level of expertise in having heart attacks. So if you haven't had one, that automatically makes me superior to you in my heart attack knowledge because I've experienced it firsthand. So nothing to be proud of. But yeah, I'm kind of setting aside all the other areas of expertise that I may possess and trying to concentrate on this one to make sure that I get this one right. Because there's no second best when it comes to this sort of thing. If I don't do it right, poof, gone. Hey, but talking about conspiracy theories and doing all that stuff is fun. So I need to have as much fun as I can have, keep myself in good spirits. And it might sound like I get worked up if you go listen to it, or if you've listened to me rant about them in the past. It may sound like I get worked up and that I'm just, going to blow my lid or, my veins are sticking out or whatever. That's not the way it is. It's like an excited kind of talking about it because I enjoy it because it's something I've paid attention to and I've studied for a long time. So it's kind of like talking about one of your favorite subjects. We all get into that. You get this, excited, nature. And that's kind of the way I am when it comes to that sort of stuff. On certain topics, there's things like that. And it might seem like I'm getting worked up, but it's really just my excitability because I have all this weird stuff in my head that I can now let out because somebody asked me about it. And carrying around all that useless knowledge, it's a burden, people. It's a burden. So you got to let it out sometimes. So occasionally you have to have some unfortunate people who come along and ask you a question about something about which you know a tremendous amount, and then you get to just info dump right there on the spot. And then they don't talk to you again for a while because they're like, that was weird. So now I'm going to go over here somewhere else and talk to this other person because you're weird. And that is kind of me. I'm weird. I know a lot of things that really are not relevant or important in the world. But for some reason, they stick in my head, those facts and figures stick in my head. I can't remember if I took my medicine this morning, but I can remember statistics from 1985, on certain subjects. So, the joys of getting older. So, with the week coming to a close, I'm just looking forward to getting through the weekend and getting some relaxation in. And then Monday getting back on track with cardiac rehab and getting back in there for my 3 days and then working out here at home. So I think this weekend I'll probably feel better, feel up to working out here at the house and get maybe a couple of mild workouts in to work myself up to Monday. Because I know Monday there's no working back up to it. I'm going to start at the same level that I ended the previous week on, which was the highest it's been so far. So I'm going to walk right into hurting myself a little bit. And so I might want to warm up a little bit on Saturday and Sunday, do some small workouts. But I'm looking forward to it. I do enjoy it. It feels good to exercise and feeling confident that I can do it now and not feel like you have to spend the entire workout going, am I overdoing it? Am I doing too much? Is this heart rate wrong? Am I what's my blood pressure doing right now? I got to check my pulse. I got to do that because you're worried about it. You don't know what it's going to do to you because it's uncharted territory. You had a heart attack and you had a procedure done, and we don't know what condition your heart is in as of right now. So you kind of have to just try it. It's almost like, did it hurt, or did it cause me to pass out or collapse or faint or have another heart attack? That's really the tell of whether or not it's okay. Is, did I suffer any negative effects from it? And so far there's been none, and we're assuming that there won't be any because my heart seems to be healthy. The level of damage that was done, there's really no way of knowing, but it's pumping the way it should be. Everything looks okay. When they did the echocardiogram and they looked at my heart, and I don't seem to have any of those signs of what they would call heart failure, or it's not pumping correctly or sufficiently, and my blood pressure is mostly under control. It's still a little high, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be a dosage adjustment for my blood pressure medicine to get it just a little bit lower. It's a lot lower after I exercise, though, which is an interesting thing to see because they do it every time. They check your blood pressure before, sometimes during exercise, and then after. So it's always quite a bit lower after I've exercised. Lately it's been like in the 130s over the high 80s whenever I would get there. And then after doing the 30 minutes of cardio and resting for a couple of minutes, letting my heart rate slow down, and they come and take my blood pressure again, and it'll be like 114 over 80 or somewhere around there, and it's very interesting how much exercise, at least temporarily, obviously, because the next day I come back and it's kind of similar. But the fact that exercise reduces your blood pressure, it does on mine anyway. So it's good. So that's one of those encouraging things that's going to make me want to keep doing it because I need to keep my blood pressure in check. And I don't like taking pills and medicines, so I would rather not have to take those. I know that I'm probably going to be taking some of those medicines for quite a long time, maybe some of them for the rest of my life, but the fewer I could take, the better, in my opinion. So if I can keep my blood pressure normal without having to take pills for it or something, I would really prefer that. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but that's kind of a goal of mine, and we'll see how it goes. But I am eventually, I think I have 4 weeks left of cardiac rehab. And then I have some follow-up appointments with doctors in December, so next month. And I will be finishing up cardiac rehab around that same time, I think. And then it's going to be having a long discussion and making some decisions about when do I try to go do this extreme physical activity thing. And, I don't plan on going and jumping right in. I want to slowly ease myself back into a normal routine. But I'm going to have to go back to a class. And I've decided that it'll be jujitsu. I'll go back to jujitsu class. And eventually I would like to get back on my dual track thing, doing both karate and jujitsu, because I enjoy them both. But I think jiu-jitsu might be a little less cardio related at first. I can take it easy a little bit, and I won't have to worry about aggravating my hip or my knee doing kicking and different stances and things like that. So I think to start back, jiu-jitsu would probably be my best, option. And it might be a thing where I go once a week, and just attend a class and take it easy. And when it comes time to roll, which for people who are not familiar, when we say we're going to roll, that means that's when you're grappling with someone else. So, and you might get 3 or 4 rolls in at the end of class. You have an instructional period where they're teaching you things or you're practicing things, and then you go through, like, if they're going to teach you a kimura, which is an arm lock. Actually, it's kind of it's a shoulder lock, I guess, is what it would be, but it's similar to a hammer lock when I was doing wrestling back in, school 100 years ago. But anyway, you teach that, and they give you instruction on it and show it to you from multiple angles and different ways to position yourself for this type of a attack. And then you drill that move for however long you're going to drill it. And you might go over 2 or 3 different techniques that are being practiced, and then you drill those techniques. And then, at a certain time, it's time to roll. Maybe don't do it every class. Usually we did. But if we're going to have like a visiting instructor or something, we weren't always going to roll at the end, because they would take up all the time with teaching us all the cool things that they came down to teach us. So we may not have time to roll afterward. So, but usually we would get 3 or 4 rolls in at the end, 5-minute, I think it was 5 minutes, 4-minute rolls maybe. But, then you break them up, and then you just change partners and you roll with someone else. So when we use that kind of terminology, that's what we mean for all the people who are not into jiu-jitsu or are unfamiliar with the practice of jiu-jitsu. That's what that means. And it's a cult. And we're not allowed to talk about it, just like Fight Club. We don't talk about the cult of jiu-jitsu, but it's definitely a cult. It's like the CrossFit of martial arts, where it's an absolute cult. And I don't know, I can't say too many things because Men in Black will show up at the house. Men in Black jiu-jitsu, kimonos and gis. Hopefully they're in gis, and they'll show up, and then, you disappear forever because you can't anger the jiu-jitsu gods. So, I'm joking, sort of joking, totally a cult. And, but it's fun, and it's good exercise, and it's brutal. And while I'm on the blood thinners, I'm going to bruise very easily. And I've noticed that already just by my normal daily activities. If I bump into something, I'm bruised. So that's going to be fun, because I was normally bruised and battered all the time anyway. So now it's just probably going to look worse, and people are going to think that I'm suffering from elder abuse or something. But I do know that when I was very active in it, when we would meet new people, we would have to explain what's with all the bandages and the Band-Aids, and why do you have like scratches and abrasions on your face and across your nose? Just like, oh, it's from jiu-jitsu. It's not from anything, I'm not out there mugging people, and I'm not being abused by my wife or anything. So, but it was always kind of funny. I would just walk in and have like a bandage across my head. Hey, just a heads up. It's not something weird, It's just another weird thing that I like to do: wrestle around with people and get crushed. So that's the plan, is to go back, and I'll talk to Master Baroni at the school, and I'll try to pick a day after this is all over, after cardiac rehab is over. And the doctor said he wasn't going to clear me to do any of that until after I finished rehab, because I guess they were very concerned. And I've talked to a few people who've had heart conditions while they were training in martial arts, and they didn't take that much time off. They were like, no, 3-4 weeks after I started cardiac rehab, I went back to class and stuff, and which is great. But my doctors were like, no. So I think they're really concerned. So we've really got to make sure that everything's going to be all right, because it is a very strenuous exercise. If it's done properly, it's a very strenuous exercise. So we've got to make sure that I'm going to be able to withstand it. And I'm not used to I don't usually do things halfway, especially when it comes to those kind of things. So we'll see. Hopefully the doctor gives me a big thumbs up after the end of cardiac rehab and says, hey, start going back to classes and go choke someone. It'll be fun. And we'll see. That's what I'm hoping for. And then I'll probably, Ben has already said, hey, if you're just going to come and drop in on a class, you just pay a drop-in fee, and instead of, signing up for full classes if you think you're only going to make it once a week or, once every other week or something. So, we'll work that out, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do. It'll probably be Saturday morning sometime in the next 30 days or, 40 days. On a Saturday morning, I'm going to show up for jiu-jitsu class and get crushed again. So wish me luck, but I'll keep you posted as we get closer to that. And I want to try to document it, as part of the podcast. So Nate in jiu-jitsu class is always filming. He's like our documentarian, and he films the lessons and stuff. And he's the one who posts or, creates the videos that we can, the place to, posts on their Facebook page and things. So, and he does a really good job. He does a great job. So I'll have to talk to him before I show up there and see if he'll, get some footage of me showing up and practicing and doing the training and getting back into it. And then I can share that with you guys, because I can't film it while I'm doing it. And it'd be funny. I'm, doing wrist locks with a selfie stick. Nobody's going to let me do that. So it's going to be up to someone else. I'll have to, get some pictures and some video of the training and stuff. And I'll share it with you, maybe. I also think there are 2 videos on my original YouTube channel of the grappling matches from the tournament from, 3 years ago now. And at the time when I posted them, I didn't really think about it, and I just uploaded them. And there's no narration, there's no explanation, there's nothing. So I was thinking that, at some point during this, podcast, during this series, that I would screen share those videos and talk about them while they're playing, so I could explain what I was doing, what I was thinking, what was happening, and those kind of things. I think that'll be fun. Kind of do a voiceover narration or a blow-by-blow of the jiu-jitsu tournament, because there's a lot of people who comment on the videos, and they're like, wow, hey, that was really good. And I'm like, yeah, no, I have no idea what I was doing. The thing I was trying to do wasn't working. If you'll notice, it didn't work. So, I had plan B and C and D, but, it's a lot of fun. So maybe I'll do voiceover on those and explain to people what that was like and how it went. But we'll keep working at it. We'll keep going. So this weekend, got to keep trying, and hopefully, I think I'm feeling pretty good. So this weekend I should be back to exercising, and we'll head into a new week with a fresh start. So I hope you all are feeling good. I hope you're healthy and happy, and I hope your families are well. And get your Zen in. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, take care of your mind, body, and spirit. And do all that. Do all those hippie things that everybody said were stupid. Do all those things. I don't know what they all are, because I don't actually know any hippies. But all the stuff, do it. You go out and touch grass, as they say today. And, look at the sky. Do that stuff. And take care of yourselves. And eat right and exercise. Get off your ass. Get on the treadmill. And I will talk to you in a day or two, probably over the weekend. Take care of yourselves, and bye.